Hello everyone, I'm Anurag, founder of NEWS-GENIX.
Hi, I'm Haika, correspondent at NEWS-GENIX.
So we are joined with an eminent personality, it's Dr. Wessam Al-Madoun. Dr. Wessam is the Dean for the Engineering Faculty and Director for Center of Sustainable Development at Gaza University. And he's the founder of Ambassadors of Sustainability. We welcome you, sir, at NEWS-GENIX Forum to discuss some elements of sustainability in the Middle East.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation to join this forum.
All right, let's proceed with the question and answer session.
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, firstly, I want to know, in your opinion, what are the renewable resources present in the Middle East area that can be used to create sustainable cities in the future, and the dependence of the current population on these resources?
Yeah, so I think, when we're talking about sustainability and the need for sustainability, that is because of all the emerging challenges that we are seeing here, and basically and mainly it's the climatic changes because of the global warming and the which basically come as a result of the release of carbon emissions. And in this region in the Middle East, you have a lot of the oil refineries, the consumption of oil, which release a huge amount of carbon. So that is one cause of the global warming and the climate change. So talking about renewable resources, also in this region in Middle East, we are having a lot of long hours, long days during the year of the solar energy, and that can be utilized as part of producing energy using the solar systems, and that will reduce the amounts of rely on the oil or the coal or oil as a mean of producing energy in the power plants. So that is one of the means to develop the renewable sector, the renewable energy sector, as a contributor to the sustainability and as a drive for sustainability in the Middle East.
So another question would be, what does development mean to Middle East, especially the Palestinian territory, and what is the impact of conflict on sustainable development?
Yeah, so if we are talking about Middle East in the broader scope, so we are having different scenarios here in the Middle East, where you are talking about conflict regions, right? The Arab Spring countries, and that is adding to the challenge of sustainability, to the practicing of sustainability in the region. In some convenient countries with some economical setup where they are in a better stand to perform sustainability. And the worst scenario is in Palestine, where the Palestinian living under occupation, the Israeli occupation since 1948, and that is a more challenging scenario where people here are suffering because of the occupation. The environmental challenges are more stressful, since a lot of issues, especially with water, lack of the scarcity of water resources, the quality of water deteriorating as well. So that is more challenging in the Palestinian context. But in some other countries, they might have a better opportunity to perform and practice sustainability.
So what are the major factors related to sustainable development during coalition of two states?
Yeah, if we talk about politics and sustainability, right? So, in the Palestinian context, so there are several scenarios to solve the Palestinian cause, and so talking about two-state solution, one-state solution, and those proposals on the ground, it's very complicated because nothing is moving since 1993, since the Palestinian National Authority signed the agreement, the Oslo Agreement with the Israeli government. They're supposed to be an autonomy for 7 years, then a state after that. So now we are talking about more than 20 years and nothing changed on the ground. So talking about two-state solution, that is a theoretical proposal, a theoretical approach, But talking on the ground, on the the challenges that faced by the Palestinian, it's more complicated than talking about sustainability as part of the two-state solution. Actually, it is depending on the intentions of the political players here in the region, right? And when we talk about justice as part of the sustainability, so we are having here lack of justice, social justice, political justice, and global justice for the Palestinian cause, where the people basically, they need to be free, they need to have their own resources, we have the global community need to provide the Palestinian with their needs. So yeah, sustainability can be drive and can be pushed by peace, because we are having a lot of initiatives globally about sustainability through peace building, and peace building is part of the SDGs. But on the ground, if the political players, they are not willing to settle these issues, especially from the Israeli side, the disagreement on the international proposal to give the Palestinian their own land, which is described by the United Nations resolution on the 1967 borders, which is, if you look back in history, it's only 23% of the Palestinian land. So that won't happen. There is no state and there is no sustainability. There is no even talking about the very basic needs of the Palestinian over here.
Dr. Wessam, what steps or policies should Palestine and the adjoining areas adopt to achieve the goals of the 2030 agenda for sustainable development?
Yeah, if we are talking about the local context, yes, the authorities here in Palestine, they need to invest more in the drafting of policies, regulation, and enforcement, which will push the sustainability agenda forward in protecting the resources here from the local threats, from the industries, from the behavior, the negative attitude and behaviors of people of burning waste, for example. But the challenge is bigger when you are talking about the transboundary challenges, talking about the water issues, talking about the wastewater issues, talking about air pollution issues, talking about waste issues. That is more challenging because it's not under the Palestinian control. It is in a conflict with the Israeli. So even if you want to get your own water, you won't be capable of doing that, because you will need spare parts, you will need pumps. That is not available in Palestine. You need to import them, right? And that need to cross the border through the Israeli, and you need to get a lot of permissions from the Israeli. Even if you have wastewater treatment plant and that wastewater treatment plant is broke down, you need spare parts. You will not be capable of bringing those spare parts from the outside, because that's under the control of the Israeli. And during the conflict, during the attacks, the Israeli attacks, they bomb a lot of large portion parts of the network of water, wastewater, a lot of the electricity pools, and that put more stress and pressure on the resources here and make the sustainability practice very slow, and even sometimes it's not in the priority of people if they don't have even enough water to drink. So that is becoming like a trivial issue when talking about sustainability, while people, they don't have even water to drink.
So we proceed to the next question, which is, what are the environmental issues in the Middle East currently? Can you please describe climate change over the past few years in Palestine?
Yeah, as I started to say, the most of the stress here currently in this summer, it's because of the climate change. The temperature, it has been beyond the average for the last 2 months, and it is a very extreme temperature, and that is putting a lot of stress on the population. High temperature here in Gaza, it's more challenging in Palestine because there is no electricity even. We are getting the electricity for 8 hours per day, so 8 hours on, 8 hours off. So when you have no electricity, how you will feel comfortable at home, because you'll need at least fan or air conditioning. So that is putting a lot of stress on the population. But as a part of that, of the sustainability, that should be a motive for people to go forward and try to make their lifestyle more sustainable and their practices to be more sustainable. But at the same time, we have to see that, is it the Palestinian, they are a contributing factor to the emissions which contribute to the global warming? Definitely there are bigger states with a bigger contribution, bigger industrial contribution that is really contributing to the global warming and climate change. But definitely we are, as many other developing countries, who are becoming the victims of the global warming that's been created by the industrial countries.
Okay. So the final question would be how will sustainable development goals make economic sense for Palestinian society?
Yeah, this is not only in the Palestinian context. When talking about the global context. So the only way to enhance and to promote sustainability, we have to provide people with the opportunities from sustainability. And that is very clear when we talk about recycling, right? And I will give you a very interesting example from here, from Gaza, from Palestine, where people now, they are chasing all these plastic, steel, and even the construction waste, because it become a product where they can sell and get value, get a revenue from that. And that is becoming an economical revenues for them. So that is a best practice, so that people not only caring about the environment, they also caring about getting some profits from these waste. And that is the agenda globally to be done. If we want to promote sustainability, we have to show the people the value and the opportunities of sustainability, not to see the sustainability as a burden where they need to spend a lot of money to control the emissions and to control the waste. We have to look at the opportunities in the sustainability, not to be seen as a burden, as an economical burden for the industries specifically.
Thank you, Dr. Wissam, for sharing such insights with us about sustainability. You almost covered everything about sustainability in Middle East. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation.